Keshe Foundation, an independent, non-profit, non-religious, space-based organization founded by nuclear engineer Mehran Tavakoli Keshe, is introducing to humanity the science of the universe, plasma science. Keshe Foundation develops universal knowledge and space technologies that provide solutions to major global problems, revolutionizing agriculture, health, energy, transportation, materials, and more. The application of plasma science in the form of specially developed plasma reactors and other devices will give humanity the real freedom to travel in deep space. Plasma science exists throughout the whole universe. It is here and it belongs to you. Our knowledge, research, and development regarding the plasma structure has progressed to the point of enabling everyone to participate in the process. Become a creator and understand the work of the universe for the good of humankind on this planet as well as in space. The use of megravs, nanomaterials, GANs, liquid plasma, field plasma, and other plasma technologies have come as a new dawn for humanity to progress and work in harmony with the universe. Conventional technology applications are wasteful, damaging, and cause pollution to the planet and all living beings. Plasma science provides solutions and improves existing methods and use of resources in all aspects that touch the lives of all beings. Plasma is defined by the Foundation as an entire content of fields which accumulate and create matter and is not defined by its physical characteristics like ionization or temperature. Also, with plasma science, we understand how we can convert matter back to the fields. Quoting from Mr. Keshe, MEGRAV stands for magnetic gravitational, which means plasma absorbs or gives. And every plasma has the both. It has give and it has take. And when they can't find the balance, they distance themselves until they find the balance they can give to the others, that they can receive what they want to receive and give further. Certain atoms and molecules release and absorb magnetic or gravitational fields. Released fields are available to be absorbed by other objects. The Keshe Foundation has developed a way to gather these free-flowing fields from the environment within a resourceful and beneficial new state of transitional matter, which M.T. Keshe named GANs. The first step of the process of the formation of various basic types of GANs is nano-coating metals. This is carried out either chemically by etching, steam coating with sodium hydroxide, or thermally by heating, fire coating by gas burner. During either coating process, gaps between outermost layers of atoms are created. The residual coating is often referred to as nano-coating, defined by the structured layers of nanomaterial, which build up during the creation process of the coating. Nano-coated metal in interaction with other various metal plates in a saltwater solution creates MEGRAV fields. These fields then attract available elements to form a specific GANs, which collects and settles at the bottom of the container. This GANs is formed from independent energized molecules like little suns that can be used in various applications.
The Keshe Foundation is extending an invitation to medical doctors of any practice and specialty to apply to the Foundation's private weekly medical teaching workshop. This includes medical doctors, dentists, and veterinarians. Scientists of the Keshe Foundation developed different types of plasma therapies and cures that utilize advanced, non-invasive plasma technology. The weekly private medical teaching workshop educates doctors to the plasma science behind the therapies, along with the functionality and operation of revolutionary plasma medical devices. The goal of the private teachings is to add plasma health knowledge to the profound knowledge of medical doctors. The weekly class is broadcast live over the internet through a secure private channel every Wednesday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central European Time. Presently, the class is only offered in English. However, you are free to bring a translator to the class. If you can't participate in the live broadcast, you can watch them later at your convenience through a private internet portal. Every patient's case that is discussed in the workshop will be kept anonymous and private. This includes cataloged findings and data gained from the analysis of the patient's health issues. Any medical doctor in the world who wants to participate can do so by sending an email to doctors@spaceshipinstitute.org. In your email, please state your willingness to participate in the medical teaching workshop. If you're planning on bringing a translator to the workshop, please state this in your email as well. After we receive your email, we will contact you with the instructions on how to apply to the workshop. As a part of the application process, applicants who apply, including any translators brought into the workshop, will be required to sign the Keshe Foundation's World Peace Treaty, which can be found at the following web address. All applicants will be required to provide proof of their education and ability to practice medicine, and will also be required to pass an extensive security background check before they are granted access to the teaching workshop. Healthful plasma technology is here, now, the use of which is increasing exponentially on a day-to-day basis on every continent. We encourage you to come and learn about this revolutionary technology. Apply today.
Okay, welcome everyone to the 183rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. This is a special workshop, the Declaration of World Peace for Humanity, and it's Thursday, August 3rd, 2017, and this is the day after the World Peace Day, where we had the signing of the world leaders into the World Peace Treaty. And we'll continue today to wrap up some of that, I believe. And I think we have Mr. Keshe ready to begin today's proceedings.
Yes, good morning, good day to you as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to these knowledge seekers. Today is a special day in so many ways. For the first time, humanity has signed himself to peace. As of this morning, we become one nation, which means there are no borders, there are no armies, there are no wars, and we do not need to incite wars as we have no enemies. In so many ways, we have extended the borders of this space we call Earth to the boundaries of its atmosphere. In reality, now that we have done with no imaginary line that we put walls and barbed wires on it, now we make the atmosphere of this planet its boundaries. There are no armies to fight, and as we have taught from the beginning, the universal community never fights. So this is again an imaginary border which extends into the universe. In so many days we have worked to bring this matter to where it is now, to be successful in building one nation. By signing of the World Peace Treaties of all the nations on this planet or sections of this planet, as of today we become one nation, one planet and one race. We have different colors, taste, smells, and so many different ways of eating the same food, but we call it different names. Now it becomes the same. We love, we adore, and we enjoy each other in different ways. There is no reason for hatred. There is no reason for one to be than the other, as we are all better than all of us, and we are all together as one. In so many ways, this has been the dream of many, many of our forefathers, to be able to bring human race to sign at the same time for peace. We've seen it yesterday. From every corner of this planet, representatives of the languages signed themselves into peace. In so many ways, this is the beginning of a peaceful cycle for humanity. And what we have seen in the past, whenever peace has prevailed, the science, the technology, the comfort of mankind has taken off very rapidly. We know this will change a lot of things. You got to realize that we are working in the background in a massive way to change conditions. And we see science in exchange for peace is paying dividend, is bringing us acceptance, it brings us understanding that we are and we have achieved a new era in human race. As I said before, many of us are fed up with killing, and many of us we are fed up being killed by so many different ways and tools, just for somebody to be the boss of somebody, to be called the king and the president or whatever. As I said, we have done with the leadership, and we have brought in the leadership of the souls. The members of the councils carry no voting right, and as of today, the new governing body has taken place. In the next few months, gradually, you will see the changes. I have called for a first World Peace Conference in the next few weeks. Hopefully after my return from Tehran, we will hold the first international One Nation conference. We might see some of those who we call it the present leaders to be present. It takes organization to bring such a thing in line, and we don't see any reason for it not to happen before the end of this year. The reason for it, I'll explain later on. This time when the Keshe Foundation meets as one nation. And this takes a lot of organization. We are looking to allow anything up to 10 to 20,000 people to this conference. Place and time will be announced in coming time. In the next few weeks we will announce it. We have taken this position because it's time then to celebrate together when all the points have been covered and the foundation stands on its own ground. In the coming days, we will announce, hopefully, the banking system and the start of operation of the blue telephones in the coming weeks. We will announce the establishment of One Nation police force. We will announce the first dates for excursion into outer atmosphere through the Keshe Foundation Space Technology. We will announce in the coming days, very shortly, a new headquarters for Keshe Foundation, in addition to one in Africa, one in United States, and the Asia Central Station will be announced. This brings us to one center in each continent. This allows us to work in line with the last center to come into operation, that we have one center in each continent to complete our position in South America. In the coming months, we'll announce the position of the Keshe Foundation Center in South America very soon. Becoming one nation, we have to be able to give facilities to the heads of continents, the members of the Earth Council, position and a place that they can operate. Keshe Foundation before Christmas will announce position for each continent as its headquarters, as head of the nations, of the head of continent. We will announce in the coming weeks, as part of the One Nation, the establishment of space centers beyond surface of Earth. The technology is advanced, and we will announce, some of this microphone is open, please, the establishment of the centers in number of places outside the surface of Earth. We are that advanced. We wait till the One Nation is in position that we can deliver the technology in full. The technology of the space launch will go to China. All the space programs, spaceship programs of Keshe Foundation will be conducted out of Chinese territory. This is a pleasure and a gift to the nations of China. All the spaceship launches, with the permission of Chinese governments, with the support of Chinese scientists, will be done on this territory. This is needed as China is a nation of peace, and such a technology needs to come through the hand of the nation which is peaceful and has the authority and power to exert its power on keeping international peace in operation. If we would have given this technology to United States, there would have been more warmongering and the rest of it. We see the Chinese government as a safe hand to deliver this technology to. Therefore, in the coming months, you will witness the launch of the first spaceships from territory of China. We have made agreements and we will deliver accordingly. The advancement of peace needs people who are in power for peace, not those who have to create war. The technology delivery has to be correct, that the nations trust the leaders. In Keshe Foundation, we have 100% trust in the Chinese government authority on managing to bring peace through the application of the space and a spaceship program. These are one of the prerequisites to peace. While the Keshe Foundation team have been busy organizing and delivering the process we saw yesterday, which was delivered flawlessly, thanks to all the people in the background, the members of the Earth Council, the members of the Universal Council, and the members of the core team worked so hard in the background to be so flawless in the front. The nations have signed themselves to peace, and these are what we call the peace dividend. In the coming time, with a whole organization on the manufacturing side, which will be headed by Armin, will deliver the financial support for application of the peace through supporting the needy, the poor, and to educate that everyone receives the same education in the new science and technology. It is important for us to realize, as one nation, on the flag of the Keshe Foundation, it means we should be equal in every aspect. We should be able to deliver the totality in one go, according to what we need, what we have, and what we have to do to deliver. Peace will not come easy. Even we have signed ourselves through peace treaty to a new organization to accept the responsibility of the human race through governing through the soul of the man. We can become to understand from now on is to go out and inform people what has happened. At this moment, as we understand, the whole 196 nations and the rest of the territories have been signed and double signed signature. Once we receive that confirmation through the Universal Council, the announcement of the completion of the World Peace Treaty is completed, and we call ourselves as one nation. What does this mean? As I promised you before, once we reach this point, we open the channels to universal community. In developing the spaceship program, the way it has to be done, and it will be done in the coming weeks and months, it will be the responsibility of the Chinese government to announce, in conjunction with the Keshe Foundation, for opening up the channels. This is important for all of us, and this will take step by step our work towards one direction, that the space becomes a natural place for all of us to live and be part of, the same as we live on this planet. There is a need for a vast amount of teaching. There is a need for a vast amount of understanding. There is a need for knowing that this knowledge does not belong to one race or one nation or one district, but all of us has to participate in it. For that reason, in the coming weeks we'll announce the establishment of the research center, as where anyone who has and understand the work of the spaceship program in any aspects can come in and join and be part of it, be it in your continent or somewhere else. Arrangements are getting made that these centers of excellence of teaching will be free available to all those who can participate and add to the knowledge. The time will take to deliver this knowledge across this planet, it depends on how, as the knowledge seekers who we have taught, you go out to teach, and to what extent you are free in teaching and you have no restriction in your thoughts and your school of teaching to the others. The Keshe Foundation structure works on a free basis of free knowledge, open to everyone at the same time, and this brings us into a new dimension. It has taken us thousands of years to reach this point, and from now on we'll try to keep, to hold and treasure peace. I think we have seen enough that for generations to come we have learned from the mistakes of the past of our forefathers. There is not one guilty man, there is not one guilty nation. It's just been the way it has been, and we have learned from it when we mature to walk out of it. The governments will have a huge problem. Those who govern have a bigger problem to implement this, unless they underwrite everything in one go. This is going to be the biggest problem when you speak about one nation. The Keshe Foundation structure in the background will launch massive amount of finances into working of this system. In a way, we supplement and we support the poorest, we'll support the ones who have the knowledge to support the structure, and we support those who are of the same ethos as us, who will lay down arms and take up peace. Number of governments will have a problem with this, because it means, as I've said in many times, unemployment. It is important for us to understand how we work and how we structure ourselves. Sorry about that, our little boy makes a lot of noise. This is important for us to understand, that is, we have to be able to change course. We have to be able to bring our fellow man to understand the peace dividend, which is the survival of the next generations, is more important than us earning money out of killing the others or producing the materials which kills the others. This is one of the biggest problems. We have seen and we will see huge opposition to this way of work. You see a lot of problem with understanding of peace. The peace should not be sold on what will give you. The peace should be sold on is for your soul, is for yourself. Does not need selling. The human race has always reacted against, if I get something, I will do something. Unfortunately, to have peace, a lot of us have to give up a lot of things. And this is the biggest problem. A lot of nations have to give up earning money out of killing, and with the name of defense, name of armies, name of military, name of whatever you would like to call it, have operated these things under nationalhood and nationalism. As we have no more nationalism, we shouldn't have any war. And we should be aware of those who, for their own private benefit of their own pocket or whatever, will incite these. One of the first regulations which has to come into effect for the, what I call one nation, those who incite war on this planet should be sent to a space outside to understand what peace means, and then allow them to come back. This is not the exile, this is the way for them to see how peaceful the universe is, and when they come back, they become the ambassadors of peace. In this process, we will see many people will abuse the process of peace. One nation and dividend, which opens the space, food, agriculture, health, energy, will be drastically changing our behavior. As I said to the nations we are negotiating with, the power generators, which has never been seen, working on the basis of universal energy, will be a gift to humanity for peace. This is how we will operate. As I've said before, we trust the Chinese nation, and the Chinese scientists will see this in the first hand by themselves first. It is important for all of us to understand that the Keshe Foundation is committed to peace, and we negotiate and work with any nation which is peaceful in nature and in their work. This is how we operate, this is how we have operated, and this is how it should be. I hope the time will come soon that we do not need to negotiate for peace, but we use the knowledge and the science to create a peaceful environment. New technologies will be released. A vast amount of new technologies will be delivered to the Chinese government, that through them they'll be distributed amongst the nations. These technologies has to be done this way that peace can be guaranteed. We have no trust in the United States government in any shape or form in receiving new technology and guaranteeing peace. We have lost the trust according to what we have seen. The same goes with a number of European countries. We have no trust in those kind of behaviors. We see two nations and three which are literally collected together in one place as guarantee and change of the course, and simultaneously we deliver knowledge to these three nations of Russia, India and China, to push for peace across the continents and across the planet. These are part of what I call the peace dividend for signing the World Peace Treaty, guaranteeing that with development and delivery of new technologies, no nation will be harmed and one nation will work as it is to be. I have worked many years on the peace process with many governments, and I have a very clear idea where we have to sit to guarantee the peace program. One of the first nations which should be and compulsory disarmed is United States. There shall be no peace as long as this nation carries a single arm. Disarmament of this nation for the one nation is important. This is not negotiation, but the technology is available that stop every single gun on this territory and beyond. No man should be able to carry a gun to kill. It does not matter from which part of this planet you come. And we do not see any other way to handle the peace process at this moment of time, except through silencing the guns and the action of those who are behind it, which mainly comes from 4 or 5 nations. And we will do We deliver new technologies to the nations which are peaceful to make sure that these nations do not deliver any more arms. The process is very simple. We create such a condition across the planet that nobody wants to buy arms. That's how it will be done. The elevation of the soul of the man is the best deterrent than fighting any war. This is delivery of the new technologies, and most of you have seen a small, very small part of this operation. Those of you who have seen the operation for Alzheimer's, those of you who have seen operation for cancer, which is psychosomatic, you should have understood by now that the technology is there to go beyond this level. Now we deliver that technology. The beauty of it is that the Keshe Foundation members have the knowledge and the technology to deliver it across this planet. It's not going to be in one place at one time. Today, we have to learn one thing. It's the first time we as one race have decided to be one nation. I've said many times, I have never seen a bird which flies from Siberia to North Africa carrying a passport dangling behind his tail. And I have never seen a lion going from one country to another giving a passport to cross the border. How man has humiliated himself that has every man to have a passport to cross. Possession of a passport in the hand of the man is a humiliation of a race, even lower than the animals. The abolishment of the passport has become one nation. We have nothing to pass and we have no ports to get on, to go out. I wonder when we cross the planet, the people of the universe will ask us, do you have an earth passport? You cannot come in. One of the main and most important points with the one nation system has to be the abolishment of the passport. A man should be free, and with the delivery of the new technology that you can take place and work anywhere on this planet, guarantees this position. Passport was needed when we were different nation. One nation, we do not need passport. The guarantee of the human rights has to stay as part of the cornerstones of the one nation. It's the duty of human race to guarantee the support of the race and the right to live free, unconditionally across this planet, wherever man chooses. We have to realize and learn from the mistakes of the past. We robbed Africa to the bone to build the streets and roads and lampposts on the streets of Europe and what we call the advanced nations. The advancement of the nation has come on the back of robbing those who we kept down for to abuse. These processes with delivery of new technology will become obsolete. It is part of the One Nation program to make sure the man in the jungles of Africa lives the same comfort, peace of mind, and the pleasure of life as the man on the apartments of New York and the rest of the world. If one not be, one will reach to get and becomes a cause of conflict. It has to be part of the work of all the districts of this planet, as there are no more nations, to make sure everything is just and correct and given the right way, that no man looks in the pocket of another part that they have this and I don't. This is how we run the Keshe Foundation. We open our patents equally to all the nations on this planet. So It has to be the same. When the knowledge gained, when the knowledge understood, has to become the benefit for all mankind at the same time. Those who endeavor to benefit by it and do things with it, that's their right. But the abolishment of what we call intellectual right has to be the God-given right. Because of my grand and great-grandfathers, or your great-grandfathers in different parts of the world, our ancestors, none of us would have existed. So, the intellect goes back where it came, to the totality of human race. These are essential cornerstones of freedom and peace. This is why we have left everything to everyone to make. This is the way we live, this is the way we have done, and this is the way we will carry on doing. Freedom of information and freedom of understanding, freedom of teaching, and freedom to be free to do all at the same time. The reason for this is the knowledge man has and uses now, and they think they are so advanced. In the opening of the space becomes so ridiculous with the knowledge which comes from outside this space that we laugh. What are we holding back for? What are we patterning? I have never seen a pattern anywhere in the universe except stupidity of greedy of those who wanted to become more greedy and do and kill for it. You've seen that with the life of the Foundation. Killing for knowledge to benefit by it through financial means has been the patterns of government and the kings, and those have been brought to justice. No man can call himself a king or a president, and no man can be any different than the other. And those who have done shall be brought to justice if they've done wrong. It is important that we share all our knowledge equally across, as we bring more, what I call maybe to the human race, exotic knowledge from outside the boundary of this planet. Any knowledge brought in or delivered by those of the universal community to human race has to become automatically accessible and understood by all the human race according to their interest. Which means privilege to travel in different positions to learn more, as we have given you the spaceship, the technology freely to do that, does not mean that you bring and capture or try to hold the technology to benefit one nation or one group alone. This is one of the cornerstones of work of the Foundation. Any technology, any new knowledge gained in a space has to become the total assets of the nation simultaneously. One of the biggest problems for human race has been to trust another race. This has to be accepted, that all races in the universe are the same and they come through the same operation of the work of the same plasmas. So in a coming time, when man goes into space, he has to carry the ethos of peace and one nationhood across one race, one nation, one planet, to one universe. In a coming time, with the support of some nations, the opening for interaction with the universal community will be established. This is important, that the whole interaction and opening of the space does not become a game show for a lot of other people. In developing the plasma technology, you create fields and dimensions that man has never seen before, or has seen and not understood. with the creation of new dimension, of new mixtures of the plasmas which will be open to the man, man will see a new horizon, new sciences and new technologies which will become and could become the cause of more conflicts. And this has to stop from the beginning. The new technologies and sciences which come and will be delivered in coming weeks and months through the Keshe Foundation and then opening of the space has to be agreed, and as we have done as one nation, to become tool of peace for the whole of humanity. There are knowledges beyond understanding of the man at this point of time in the universe, that once the man sees them, will create two ways: with pleasure to accept, or the fear to create, to control. This cannot be allowed. In the coming time, as the space technology, spaceship program opens up, and we'll see, is that the human race will trust his own structure, his own physical being, his soul, to be given, to be trusted to other beings, which with it increases the intellect of the man in interaction. These kind of knowledge at this moment of time is not seen or understood by human race. This is one of the advantages of opening the space through the spaceship program. This means we bring a mixture of the science of man and science of space together. And this can create all sorts of joys and all sorts of expectation. This is as part of one nation dividend, which will come with the space technology, with the spaceship program, has to be understood to be used for the benefit of mankind as totality. By opening the one nation and in delivering more knowledge into the hand of the scientists will deliver and develop knowledge and technologies in conjunction with those beyond the boundaries of this planet that will change the totality of the lifestyle on this planet. In so many ways, buildings and the structures we know as of today will not exist. Building the way we do, constructing the way we do, transportation that we use, the line of communication that we have is so obsolete, is so, in a way, not backward, but for us to be very advanced, in a way is historical to the man of space, being used billions of years ago, that in that evolution, many of the human race will be baffled and might resist the change. This cannot be. We have to educate across this planet all races, that is their choice to join and be part of the free space knowledge. In space, there are no bricks, and in space, there are no metal gates. In space, we don't have computers, and in space, we do not have the visuality of the television. In space, we create dimensions of physicality by the interaction of the totality of the fields and through our own understanding and control of our own fields. Which means what the man has built, scale into one dimension or after one space, will become irrelevant. This is part of the one nation progress. The aircraft industry of today will be, in a way, a museum part in the coming months. As I said before, would you like to spend 12 hours on a flight, or would you like to be on the way for 12 minutes? These space technologies and advancements in space development will come purely out of the nation of China. Initial investments and development and delivery of knowledge to guarantee world peace has to come through the strongest nation present, which is peaceful. These technologies will be delivered in a way that guarantees peace on this planet and guarantees the advancement of the knowledge. As I said, we have no trust in the United States government to use the technology for peaceful application, where we have 100% trust in the Chinese government to see the development and delivery of new transportation for space on the Earth level and across this planet. We will deliver these on one basis, and that is, we have to understand further the interaction of the fields. We have to understand how the fields have to change, have to be delivered in one way or another to lead to the creation of physicality that the totality gives us and brings us peace. As I've said before, those nations who are striving to buy 747s and Airbus 380, please hold on to your wallet. The new spacecrafts, the new crafts to travel across this planet will cost a few $1,000s. And it will be available to totality at the same time. But it has to be understood for those of you who have matured in the world of space and science, that the technology at this level needs a total understanding by all the nations. We have looked at every aspect of teaching the new technology to one nation, one planet, one race. One of the main problems which will be solved through this technology as one nation is feeding of the humanity. In a coming time, we deliver technologies directly through the Chinese government that no man, no child will sleep hungry. Does not matter where on this planet you live. This is the only way which we can bring progress in totality, at the same time through it deliver the knowledge which brings man peace. At the same time, we will deliver through the same structure systems that guarantees the health of every being on this planet. Small diseases like diabetic, blood pressure, heart attack, brain hemorrhage, recovery from them, if there is, will become a child's play with what will be delivered. It is part of what I call peace dividend. This is part of what we call the pleasures of being able to share the knowledge, and it has to be agreed and it has to be done the way we see, as the ways of the past has brought nothing but misery and calamity for man. I have made it very clear what is going to come and what is going to be delivered. I don't see any other way. This is, as I said, we have brought the knowledge, we dictate the terms and conditions, and us dictating the term and condition is for the benefit of the humanity, that we all receive every benefit from every angle and every way from this new technology. The word which has bothered me for very many years is a third world nation and what they call themselves the First Nations. Those who call themselves the First Nation have stolen so much from the third world nation that in fact, from moral point of view, the most advanced nations are the bottom of the rank when it comes to be maybe the other third world nation and beyond in understanding and social structure and what I call morality. So in this way, we exchange one for the other, and we bring that there is no first, second or third nation. We all become one nation. It is our responsibility to carry this through. It is us who have the knowledge. Many of you who've been around the Keshe Foundation for so many times, so many years, you suddenly find yourself as celebrities of knowledge. Those who understood and can teach, and it's your responsibility to do so. Be it the housewife, be it the doctor, be it the engineer. In the coming weeks, we will release, as I said, so many new technologies and knowledges that has been and is part of the knowledge of the universal community. With this way we achieve two things. First of all, gradually we introduce man to the knowledge which is beyond this planet and never been open to. And secondly, we allow for the man to test himself in how much he can understand the new understanding of the technologies. As I've said, apartments stacking up 20-30 million people in one place because there is a job, there is a water, there is a light, as irrelevant. In a coming time, the cities we have chosen will become empty places. In a way, what they call prime states will not exist. By being able to produce materials and being able to travel and transmute in different positions, cities the way we have seen become things of the past. The human race will spread across this planet and beyond. There is a point that we have no control over, and in that process we have to make facilities that in that position we are there to make the difference, like natural disasters. In these positions, again, the new technology can help. We cannot stop these processes of natural processes even in the space, but we can understand how to overcome and how to support instantaneously and not to wait. One of the biggest problems at this moment of time for human race is a contamination in different shapes and forms. With this new technology, we should be able to extract all and deliver all. From Keshe Foundation Arizona and Keshe Foundation China, we will deliver new systems that you can produce whatever you need at the point of need with the full technology. Keshe Foundation Arizona has been spearheading this and nobody saw it. And many times when I see John showing things, I say, John, why don't you see where you're going? In this way, we deliver systems, very basic systems, that you can produce whatever you need at any point on this planet. Be it food, be it water, be it material, be it energy. The technology has been on the table and many people have overlooked it. Now we bring it out as part of the process. But we bring a new version of it in a deeper way, that from the same system you can produce from gold to water to any other material you need, and this system should not cost more than or less than $100–150. In a way we make you independent from every need. In a way this process will change everything that the man has been fearing of, even shelter. In so many ways, it's the completion of what we promised as an oasis system. initially will be delivered through the Chinese organization of the Keshe Foundation and through Arizona. In fact, part of the system is already under offer.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. I think we lost him here for just a little bit.
I think we lost Mr. Keshe, yep. Okay, well, we'll just wait a minute or two here, and I'm sure he'll pop back in.
Oh, sorry about that, we are back.
Okay.
In so many ways, we will find out that there are easier ways to do this. I have taught it freely, but it's not my problem that you have not seen it. So now we show it. The total structure of new technology to guarantee peace and to guarantee the establishment of peace will be taught in totally different way in a coming time. As I said, everything has been explained. You have not seen it, you have not understood it. Now it can be seen and understood. As I said, we need to understand the totality. In so many ways, we have to understand the totality. And in so many ways, we have no choice. Part of the new development will come out of what we call the space plasma field. Part of the new understanding will come as field plasma rays. Part of this will come from the knowledge of the interaction of the gravitational magnetic field themselves. This is part of the technology which has never been understood, but we have explained in so many ways about it. If you understand that every field has a gravitational and a magnetical, it should have been understood by now that these fields are not separable from each other. And in the motion of a field from one position to another, where there is a dynamic flow and a counterbalance flow between the magnetical and the gravitation of the field of the ray itself is a source of life, it's a source of energy, and it's a source for existence. Then, as I said, one thing which has never been understood, and this is part of what I explained today now, that those of you who understood part of this now might see the light or understand, be enlightened by it. We always explain a plasma has a gravitational and magnetical. One thing that you never considered, If there is such a thing, there has to be a flow of the energy and gravitational magnetic field strength between the gravitational and the magnetical. And man has never tapped into this energy because he never understood. He never could imagine. But in fact, if you look, everyday life on this planet works, operates through this operation of the field. Look at the rains, look at the clouds, look at the life on this planet. The interaction of the gravitational fields of this planet with its magnetical creates such a vast energy that forces the rotation of this planet. The interaction between the gravitational and magnetic field of this planet is the cause of the motion of the clouds and the creation of conditions on this planet. A man has only learned a little bit, maybe to use the winds and maybe to use a little bit of this and that. The energy hidden within the interaction of gravitational and magnetic field of a single entity is equal to the energy which is available in the universe. And man has never understood this potential. In so many ways, as man never understood the field forces of the gravity, he always considered one thing or the other as a field. Now, the new opening and the science will change everything, as I said, by delivery of new science, is the interaction within the field itself, gravitational and magnetical. One does not exist without the other, and at the same time the two exist to support each other to exist. And man has never tapped into this line of energy, as up to this point has never considered such a flow. As I said, the new technology which we deliver will tap into the field itself, the gravitational and magnetical field itself. Good morning. It has to be understood that, thank you very much. It has to be understood that the field flow between the gravitational and magnetical is one of the most controllable hidden energies in any process in the universe. And man has never ever considered such an energy. When you create gravity and when you create magnetical field from the same entity, they have always an interaction and interface. One is stronger and one is weaker, and the flow from the stronger to the weaker creates field forces which creates the rotation of the planet, which creates the winds, which creates the condition and the temperature on this planet. And it's time to understand that one can tap into this energy, and if one understands, then it dictates the rotation of the entity, which gives it the balance in its motion, and then one does not need no motors and no nuclear reactors to create energy and motion. The field force balance between the two has to be understood from now on and need to be tapped onto. Then you can choose which part of these field forces you decide to interact with, and that will give you whatever you need from that point. Let me explain to you something very simple. An onion is ground base, not much of the magnetical, but more of gravitational. An apple is more of the gravitational, sorry, more of magnetical and less of gravitational, and only few meters changes one field force to another, creation of different entity, but in fact they're all both made of interaction of fields and nothing else. The development of the field interaction systems, which are gravitational magnetical interface systems, will become part of the cornerstones of the development of energy and motion and materials in the upcoming time, when the man understands. Creation of materials, creation of gases, creation of fields, creation of motion, creation of creating new positions, and speed and motion. Now even the rays will become part of the game, and one can understand. The maggrav field strength within the maggrav itself becomes important, and this makes development of the system so easy that one does not need to look anywhere in the universe. One will understand that can use their own reactors as you have to create such a condition. The technology and the knowledge of interface between the gravitational and magnetical will create new opportunities and sciences that man will understand in totality. Then the space becomes child play, where you can play within the structure of the fields directly inside. This is part of new understanding and the teaching. In so many ways, if you look at it, we are talking about this, but if you look at it and understand it, there is two of them running at the same time. And in this point and this point, there is a potential field strength difference. And if you tap at that point, the vast amount of energy which is available is beyond imagination of the man. And no one up to now has ever considered the field flow of the entity within the entity. Be it an atom, be it a plasma, a neutron, or whatever else you want to call it. Be it the plasmatic field of the earth, which is gravitational and magnetical. So if one learns, then one can go from the magnetical of the earth into gravitational, or at a point choose and use the different strength in fields to create vast amount of energies that can be used by man. As I've said, there is a lot to teach, and man has a long way to go. And as I said, these are part of the peace dividend. Our wish is peace, and with the signing of peace treaty to make one nation of the planet, now we can teach more of the same. Some of you, or mankind, should have understood that the light on this planet, the elusive light on this planet, the What we see as light on this planet comes from this interaction. Which means the Earth lights itself through interaction of its own gravitational and magnetic field. The way that the lights from the Earth and the light from the Sun leads to a higher order, as we call it the daylight and the night. The same thing, part of the elusive light of the universe comes from the interaction of its own gravitational magnetic field forces. And now man can understand and use these field forces to his advantage, and it takes no time to develop these kind of technologies. This is the way the birds fly, on the footpath of the field flow, which always stays constant irrespective of many other factors. Does not matter how old the bird is, it flies directly to the point on the tree from one continent to another. These interactive field forces are very weak but extremely powerful, and one does not need to do much to be able to tap in one or the other, but the collection interaction of the two creates totally a new system that man can benefit by beyond his imagination. What else can I teach you? If you're not aware of your own operation of your own planet for millions of years, that you can use the fields, you should have used the fields of gravity and magnetical to create everything that you wanted. There is a lot to learn. And there is a lot to teach. But we have to be careful that this teaching does not become to harm the others, or others can use to harm the others. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I'll remind the attendees that they can put up their hand and we can promote you into a panelist.
I think
in
I've
order
been
to speak. Pardon me. Okay, so we have a question.
Awake?
Can you hear me, Mr. Keshe?
Hello? Yes, I'm disconnected.
Disconnected? Oh.
Oh, my voice was cut off. Sorry about that.
Okay. We can hear you.
How do you expose the fields in such a way that people gradually learn to benefit them without abusing them?
This is partially we don't need exposure to. This is partially used by our brain to assess the conditions. This process is used by man on daily, every second of our lives. But we are not aware of it. We haven't been aware of it. The process of the interaction between the gravitational magnetic field of the planet is actually part of the energy which our brain depends on its source of supply. As I said, we absorb and we gain so much energy from our environment. When you climb a mountain and you say the air is thinner, you have to understand that at that point you receive more from the magnetical field of the planet than the gravitational, and in receiving it, it enlightens you. It reaches you in a way more you are receiving than you're giving to keep in touch. This is one of the reasons, for example, as I said, we like to go into mountains, because we are further away from gravitational, which pulls energy from us, and we receive more of the magnetical field of the planet. This is what we call, we pray for you. I pray for you, I give you some of my soul. It depends on how much I pray for you, how much I give. You receive from what I give. So when you go on a higher altitude, you receive more of the magnetical fields, and that's why you feel better, because now on you have less attachment to the more gravitational field, the strength, the stronger one of the planet. Now maybe we understand more why and how we feel this way. Now maybe you even understand why different mankind in different altitudes and in different positions on this planet in respect to the height feel totally different than the others. Why do we feel, we see the behavior of the seaman to be more or less always the same? Because at that level there is no height, so the field absorption is constant. It creates the same kind of mentality. So it's for us to understand it, and it's for us to create how much would we like to live, and the way we live, on which one more magnetical. This way, this gravitational magnetic field of the earth, which affects the emotion of the man according to the field strength of the absorption, is in so many ways what we search for, and we have to understand how to tap into it. Many research has been done, or many ways things have been seen, observed in the universe, which follows this. The more and the further you become from Earth, once you become the travelers of the space, the less you find attachment to the planet. And in so many ways, the more you receive to be strong enough that you do not need the planet to exist. The gravitational field of the planet in deep space is weaker, but the magnetical field of the planet is stronger compared to its counterpart. So, in a way, once you understand the plasma technology, it encourages you to travel deeper, and you never miss to come home, because you know you always have a home base, because the field strength of the earth on this gravitational becomes weaker, attachments become less, detachment becomes stronger, because this is one of the features of these systems. Gravitational magnetic field of the earth has a strong hold on the emotion of the man than the magnetical field strength of the planet. As I said, we open a new understanding with the one nation, then you understand more what it means to be part of the man of space. As I said, you miss nothing. Any other question?
Hi, this is Erik from Denmark. If I may, I have some questions about...
Please ask, we try not to answer.
Okay. I can tell that after months of thinking about heating the house, I have finally got success, and now in 2 houses. I have put up the GANS bags, as you probably heard in testimonials, and got a little bit of heating effect, but not much. But after I brought home some sub-assemblies of a macro from Togo and assembled it, I got heat. And I actually got a lot of heat because right now the wall temperature is 25 degrees here in the living room. And outside temperature is 15 degrees.
How
and
much?
I haven't 15 degrees.
Yeah.
And I haven't heated the house for 3 months.
And how much
here
is
and
inside the house?
outside the house is 15 degrees.
Inside?
25 on the wall, and the air temperature is 22. The walls are warmer. It can be a calibration question between the infrared pistol and a normal thermometer. But I'm very happy about this because it seems that I finally got some success with it. But
could you share your success with us, what you did?
Yes, of course I will. I did exactly the same as Eva has told. Actually, I used the ganses Eva gave me more than half a year ago, and I have tried to use these ganses to make it work. It's basically 4 plastic bags with approximately 60 milliliter of liquid plasma.
Which one?
Could we get this maybe drawn out or otherwise display, because I think it'll be important to have a look at it for everybody.
Yes, but let me just explain. It's very simple.
Explain.
Actually.
Okay, explain, please.
You have 4 bags and you put the 4 basic ganses, 1 gans in each bag. And when you have a bag, then you add with the 60 milliliter of liquid plasma, you add 1 drop from the 3 other ganses into each of them. So every bag has all 4 ganses, but only 3 drops from the 3 other ganses. And then I have hung them in the house according to the magnetic field of the Earth, so that I have CH3 to the east, zinc oxide to the south, copper oxide to the west, and CO2 to the north. And as I said before, I assembled the macro. I got a heating effect. I could maybe get 3, 4, sometimes 5 degrees more inside the house than outside the house. But it seems now that it's sufficiently powerful to give a very comfortable temperature inside the house.
You're nearly 10 degrees up.
Yes.
Okay, can you explain to us where you put the maggraph system, please?
Yes, because of practical reasons, I have put it in one end of the house. And the funny thing about this is that the cellar floor, I have a 2-story house, and it's on the upper story in one end of the house, the north end of the house. And the cellar floor with tiles at the other end of the house, when I measure it with the infrared gun, it is 23 degrees, the floor. And when I measure...
How you put those ganses all in one floor or 2 different floors?
I put it in every room of the house, except one.
So there are bags of...
Sorry, you break out now.
4 bags in each room.
4 bags in each room on both stories.
Okay. Carry on, please.
Yes, and after I got this working, I have another house in Sweden, and I was thinking that when I come there, it's often quite cold. So I prepared some bags and went to Sweden last weekend. And I put up but I hadn't got enough ganses. I actually gave 4 bags to my neighbor over there also, and for him to hang up. And so I missed 12 bags in this house, and there's no macro there. And the funny thing or nice thing about it is that suddenly the heat started working there also. I have an air temperature of 21, 22 degrees in the house, maybe 1 degree lower than here in the Danish house, and there's no macro. And I wonder, how can it be that now I have been fighting to get heat in the Danish house for months, and now when I got heat in the Danish house with the macro and I go to Sweden, there is no macro and it works there also. That is something I wonder about. Have you any explanation on that?
Yes.
Sounds good.
You explain, then I explain. You explained it yourself. You don't need me. Let me tell you what it. The secret. What you have done is exactly converting what those who did in the dynamic reactors, where you put some of the CH3 in the inner core and you put a little bit of it in the outer core. And then you start the process. John in Arizona did a couple of these tests and he gave up because he could not make the connection. This is what you do in your star formation for John, if you understand. I hope you understood what this is about. What has happened is that because you put 1 drop of the other 3, which means all the 4 bags have a connection with each other, and in that connection they try to link up, and with it they bring the fields from one bag to the other. The key is that CO2. The CO2 is the transfer of energy, not so much anything else. Your CH3 is the one which gives the heat. In one of your processes, most probably CH3 was not sufficient, or it wasn't the right way, or was not correct. Your others which you put in, zinc oxide, is the emotional feeling of the warmer. The copper oxide which you put in interacts with the flow of the current in the house on the matter state, and most probably you have copper wires everywhere. You introduce the maglev unit. In a way you create a connection with a copper and a copper wire. If you go back to your Danish house and look if you have something made of copper in the house somewhere.
A lot of wires.
Except wires. There is something most probably made of copper. That's yes, why you don't need.
Outside the living room is actually a big pot you used in the old days when you were slaughtering animals and had to prepare them and to get off the hair. And as I'm an electrical engineer, I have lots of copper in my house.
But is that made of copper in your other house?
In the other house, that is very ordinary. It is the house has been.
No, I mean in the house you have no maglev in.
And yeah, that's the Swedish house, and that is completely ordinary with no extra copper. Actually, they have saved a lot on it because they had not been so rich, the people that lived there. So very little copper wire there
Where in the Swedish house?
in the Swedish house. But they have arranged the kitchen and the bathroom very close to each other, and for the water distribution they have used copper tubes, so there is some copper there.
So what it is in reality, in having one drop of each element in the other, you have created a flow between it. And what temperature you get is the ratio difference between the field flow and what comes. You literally have created what I call amino acid condition. And it gives you the feeling because of the zinc which is used, because now the field flow of the zinc trying to catch up weaker to the stronger. All the bags are trying to catch up with whatever is stronger enough, colder, what do you call it, weaker, and this friction creates heat. That's why the house is warm.
I have to say that credits to the idea of putting one drop of the others into the one specific gas. This credit goes to Eva. I didn't.
Thank you very much. But this is how all the what do you call it, the reactors which you are supposed to be, or lead, we do it in a bigger ratio. That we put some of the 1/3 of the one and 2/3 of the other in the outer, and we put 1/3 of the one and the other one. So this adding and mixing and keeping a common denominator is the reason that's why you're having a heating done in the house at 22 degrees. You will find out if, for example, in the room, increase one of the bags of 60 mil to 120 mil or 180 mil. And let us know the result. 1 out of the 4. And I advise you for it to be CH3. See if you get an increase in temperature.
I guess so, I will. Because I would like to test the theory with you, because I've been thinking a lot about this, and as I see the work of the plasma, in order to create the heat, you need an interaction between a static field and a dynamic field to harvest some energy, convert some energy. And
that's the old way. That's the old way. In a way, if you look at it for plasma, you get much stronger field. And you have created a balanced field, like if you don't need that static, because the interaction of the field packages will give you that feeling. What I suggest to do is put the CH3 on a window and see on where there is a window, and change the position and see if you get a different temperature than when the CH3 is not on the window.
Yes, I will do that, and I will report back in the testimonials.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The coming Monday.
Come back and please explain to us. You are using the field gradient of one material to the other with a common denominator of all 4 elements in each bag, which is fantastic. Yes. Thank you very much. We do the same thing in test. Thank you very much.
I have another question, if I may, and that is regarding dynamic reactor. As you probably know, I visited Paul in Togo for nearly a month, and he is like a wizard in health things, and he took a reactor and put it near me and let it run. And after 15 minutes, I felt very much sleepy and had to go to sleep for 4 hours. And the day after he did it again, and then I felt a bit tired, but not much. And the third day it didn't affect me at all, at least not something I noticed. How can it be that the interaction of the field to the human body works this way? I would expect that I either had an effect or not. It seems like the body has changed in some way to adapt to the field. Can you explain?
Hello, Mr. Keshe. We're not hearing you if you're trying to speak. Yeah, we still don't hear you, Mr. Keshe. Maybe you have your microphone off or something came disconnected. Oops, I think Mr. Keshe just dropped, so we'll have to wait a minute for Mr. Keshe to reconnect here.
Okay. I don't know if I use up too much time, but I actually had one thing more I would like to discuss, and that is related to pollution from combustion engines, because I think we can reduce the pollution to better the air quality in the big cities if this could be understood a bit more, the mechanism. I have been thinking about this also. I don't know if it's okay.
A good topic for Mr. Keshe. I mean, this is part of the development of the peaceful new planet that we are working on. So in that way, it seems like it's appropriate. I think we just have to frame the questions in terms of the peace, the space.
I'm back again. Sorry about that.
How much did you hear of my question?
Not much I heard. You started it and I got lost.
Okay. I said that I visited Paul in Togo for nearly a month. And
You what?
Paul, I have been visiting Paul in Togo for nearly a month, last month. And as I said, Paul is like a wizard in health applications.
Yes.
It's quite amazing. And he looked at me and he put me near a reactor and spun it for maybe 10-15 minutes. And after about 15 minutes, I felt very sleepy and had to go to sleep. For 4 hours, I was sleeping very hard. And the next day, he gave me one more go. And I felt a bit sleepy, but I didn't go to sleep. And the third day, it didn't affect me, but it gave me energy. And I wonder what happens there when you are subject to these fields. It seems like the body reaction changes to the field according to the amount of exposure to the field. Could you maybe...
Yeah, we have explained this before in teachings, is that you receive energies which your body needs or has been short of in the first day, and when you receive that kind of energy, then cells have to be adjusted. Cells need to be, it's like a repair. We see this with people who use the system initially. The first few days, because they use small dosages of it, they feel tired, they feel sleepy, and they get worried. Says, I'm always tired, I want to go to sleep. And I said, this is the best news. It means a lot of repair is done. Because if you look at, you become like a baby. You know, the babies when they are born, They are asleep all the time. The reason they sleep is that the body is continuously converting energy into matter and what is needed to grow. So they need more of the sleep than the awakeness. Awakeness needs a lot of energy because you have to be alert with everything. When we sleep, we get rid of that energy we choose for what we call our alertness, and it gets used for producing cells and repairing. So in the first day when you feel so tired, it means that system had the energy which you needed for repair, and the body went into repair. So you don't need to sleep until repairs are done. You became like a baby, new cells growing fast. Second day was the same, because this system produce a specific bandwidth strength of gravitational and magnetical. So that bandwidth for you was complete. If you had a little bit more to be adjusted left over from the day before it was done, and the third day you don't need it because it's done. If you, for example, would have changed the maglev systems, or if you had a dynamic system and you changed the liquid in it, it's slightly different, you would have gone most probably through the same process. So this is understanding. We understand it fully. We understood this for over 10 or 15 years. This shows that you had some, what I call, maybe you call it in the modern language of medicine, deficiencies, or adjustment needed to be done in the strength, and it was done, and that's it. The second day, what was repaired doesn't need to be repaired anymore. So the fourth day or third day, the process is that 4 hours, that 4 of sleep, which means you need the full cycle. So it needed both emotion, psychological and physical adjustment, and you received 4 of it. If you, the length of the sleep we do 1, 2, 3 or 4 hours, it shows us which part of the sleep was needed to be satisfied, to be able to carry on with physicality. Many of people sleep 4 hours, which means energy is continuously topped up. You don't need more. When people sleep 4 hours, means they receive more from their environment than they need. It's just a small physical adjustment that we need. If you go down to 2 hours of sleep, you repair only the physical. It means the emotional and this, what I call, connection to the soul is fully satisfied. The pattern of the sleep dictates or shows the way the body operates, and a lot of people, it's never been understood fully. Those who get satisfaction from their work, they're satisfied, they are pleased with what they do, they are happy with what it is, and they get a lot of emotional relief from their work. They sleep 1 cycle of 4 because physicality doesn't get repaired very fast. This shows, as I've said in our other teaching, that is the emotion, is the soul, which is the feeder of the physicality. You need that time. The first 2 hours is physical repair. Then the emotional or the soul part does not need, because it's always active, it's working, it does never get tired. But if you go through the 4 cycle, means after the physical repair, you still need the emotional top up. Now it's used for the physical, now whatever the surplus energy is, I need to top up on the emotion side. And then you go through the second cycle, which adjusts the second lot, which if you call it the magnetic side or the gravitational side. One cycle is the magnetical, one side does the gravitational side of the strength of the body. That's why we sleep on 2 cycles. So if you go to sleep after the process for a full 4 hours, as you said you did, from the scientific point of view, the way we look at it, you needed both the emotional and the physical repair. There was something there which was needed to be done for given the strength. You could have walked into it and it wasn't what you needed, says the system did nothing to me. This is what we have to become more understanding of the position and the system that we are getting involved in. If he would have changed the dynamic and would have changed the coils or a fluid, you most probably, if you needed it, would go to and sleep another 4 hours. Is the spectrum which we cover in the strength that it matters, and it creates that.
Thank you very much, and I will also need a lot of more understanding. I will get some from Paul. You know, I'm going to build the health unit. You probably saw the drawing I made. So thank you very much for this information. I have one more question related to pollution.
Yes.
Because we have so much pollution in the big cities from cars. And
if you make a flying cars, then there is no pollution.
If we, what?
If you make your flying cars, then there is no pollution.
I fully agree, but I'm not sufficiently skilled yet to do that. And right at the moment, my thought is we have so many combustion cars. Many people cannot afford to buy a new car immediately, even if the price is low, but they have a car. And if we could add something to the car very cheaply to reduce pollution, I see it as a good thing as a temporary solution until we get the right transportation you give us. And this is why I would like to ask this question. I can add that the principle of the GANS bags, I made 2 bags 3-to-1, and I put in 80% CH3 and 20% CO2, and I mounted it on the fuel line of the car when I drove to Sweden to install the other bags. And it was quite astonishing that this Skoda Fabia car I drove, it was a mixture of ordinary road and highway, and the consumption was only 5.7 liter per 100 kilometers, even if I was up driving 130 kilometers. I should not say that, but I find that quite interesting that it's possible to get more power and lower consumptions in such a simple way. And now to the question itself, because Paul gave me a tip. He said to me, if you have a combustion engine and in the plane of the top gasket of the engine, between the cylinder and the top of the motor where you have the combustion chamber, if you in that plane put a tube in front of the cylinder and the tube in back of the cylinder, and you put CO2 in one of them, and you put CH3 or one of the other hydrogen gases in there, depending on how much power you want, put it in there, then you can also get more power and reduce the mileage. But and I've decided that as a low priority for me, I will test this on my mower, this to cut the grass on this motor, because if something goes out of control, it's not that expensive to destroy it. And after that, I would like to put it on my wonderful motorcycle to increase the performance of that. But I'm concerned about how is the energy released. Is the energy of the field released because you have a spark in the motor, or because something happens with the fields when the gasoline burns in the motor? Maybe you could explain a bit about that. Because if we can do this in a controlled way, we can design these tubes and sell them to people for very low price, and then we can reduce pollution and reduce consumption of fuel. And every time you pull up 1 liter of fuel from Mother Earth, you pull up mercury and other poisons. So I don't like that. Please explain.
The system for automotive is the only way you can reduce pollution is by reducing consumption or reducing burning the fuel. So you got to realize one of the points with this technology is you look at the material side, you look at the matter side, but with introducing plasma into the system, like a motor car, you introduce an alternative fuel. And if you look at it, in reality, at the end of the day, at the end of the process of the engine, combustion engine, you create a plasma. So you realize more and more that the system works because you create a hybrid. Just because you don't put it in there, it doesn't count. It does count quite a lot. Those people who have used these systems even for the car, they say that even the steering is lighter, because then the plasma condition affects the whole positioning. You change the position. If you use a CO2, if you use a copper oxide, you find that driving is not so comfortable. If you use a CH3 more than CO2, you find it more comfortable. Because of the gravitational magnetic fields you release in the car, you create in the car. It says people look at medical aspects and the practical aspects of this technology totally on the matter state. When you add, even if you carry a bag of CO2 in your car or a bag of CH3 in your car, you create a condition of positioning. It's not just that the bag is there. Now you have created a different field force of the whole car in respect to the Earth. The Earth doesn't look if it's something somewhere. The Earth looks at the, like what we call gravitational magnetic field positioning. So there is a limit. We looked at this years ago. How much gallons of CH3 we have to put in the car before the car floats? It's possible. It's quite possible. Somebody one day will do. If you put a bag of CO2 on the roof, then you find out, okay, I put maybe 20 kilos of CH3 on my roof. It's going to be harder. Then you find out most probably you fly. You can levitate with it. This is the reality. If you put in the front and the back, you find out the steering is much easier. These are the things I used to teach years ago. And I just don't consider it anymore. But in fact, we looked at this scientifically, because the more mass ratio, the more you have, the more interaction has to be. And try the CO2 and try CH3. And you see how you position yourself. You're steering, you think, why should I carry 100 liters of gas on top of my car? I will do it if I don't have to spend fuel or expense money. I carry 200 kilos, and when I don't have to spend for fuel, I don't create any. But if you don't want to carry the CH3 on the roof of the car, the alternative is to create a concentration of CH3 in the dynamic reactor. The position is that tube you look at, or the other tube, or you put something somewhere. You have changed the field positioning of the car. This is what I keep on saying. In this technology, look at the field, not the matter of how much you put in there. And that's all it is. The fuel consumption is because you have reduced the interaction, friction, so you use less. And then if you can turn it around the car totally, that the field flow of the plasma goes around the car, you can go. In Peru and in some American structures, Keshe Foundation, they achieve 60% reduction. Hasn't arrived yet, by the way. Oh, by the way, while you said this, I have to inform to you something. Please, this is something we forgot to inform you. Do not send any any packages which carries KF or any name of KF or Keshe Foundation through DHL. DHL has the instruction to destroy all the Keshe Foundation materials through Belgian government. We have just lost, as you said, a unit. It's taken 4 weeks now to move from Austrian office to Turkish office. And we lost our servers with it. This car units which you're speaking to was built in the Keshe Foundation Austria to go to the Keshe Foundation Turkey, and it's taken over 4 weeks now, has not arrived, and we had to get police involved. We threatened to bring the police in. If you are a Keshe Foundation follower, boycott DHL. DHL has an instruction from the Belgian government to destroy anything with the Keshe Foundation. Do not use this system. They are very, we have evidence, we are going public with it. We would like DHL to answer us why anything which has got a package of Keshe Foundation, like our servers, now our material, is getting disappeared and damaged or whatever. These are not allegations. We can deliver directly 150,000 damages to the servers by DHL. If you want, we put it on the internet. You've seen it 2 years ago. In now another package again, 4 weeks. They know where it is. They're not delivering it to damage credibility. Do not use this company whatsoever reason. They have in their system anything to do with the supporters of Keshe Foundation. They kept the data. This is whatever I call it. It's not accusation. We can take and stand all the courts with them. Anything with the Keshe Foundation goes to, because, as you said, these MAGRAV units, which was built in Austria, we have actually threatened them with the police. It moved from Austria to Germany. Now they're blocking it in Germany. We never heard of it. They know exactly where it is. They did the same thing with our service. They destroyed it totally. This company is actually criminal action, what they are doing with the Keshe Foundation.
Are you still there, Mr. Keshe? Or
yes, you can hear me.
Let's look.
Hello?
I hear Mr. Keshe.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you fine.
I can't hear you. I see your microphone working, but I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting a bit old after 16 hours of work yesterday. Are you there? Hello? Rick?
Sorry about that.
But I hear you, Mr.
Yeah, I think he's working on it.
Sorry about that. It was at my end this time. Just the mic.
Okay, no problem. So this is important to understand. The system you use, as I said, if you didn't hear, do not use DHL for anything with the Keshe Foundation name or supporters of Keshe Foundation, because they make sure your materials do not arrive or totally damaged, becomes unusable. We can publish the number, anybody can track it. We publish it. DHL was it taken from Austria to Turkey over 4 weeks to deliver. And in that package are car systems, and for this purpose. We understand the totality of the work. You create a new MAGRAV positioning, and that is the reason. I just leave.
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, no problem. For it creates a new MAGRAV positioning. When you put a bag in your car, you have created a new condition. It's not the bag, it's the fields which the bag creates.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
If you tighten it to the chair or put something on it, you might get a better results, because the bag might just lift a little bit inside.
Okay, so you are actually saying that the roll resistance of the wheels is reduced because of reduced weight, right?
Yes, correct, 100%.
But that also reduced in increased braking distance if you need to brake?
We did a test with the scientists in Ghent University. If you use a nano-coated material on your brakes, it makes it worse or faster. But if you use a field as you are doing, the positioning makes you less friction. This is one of the problems with what do you call it, MAGRAV positioning systems. You'll find that even the cars next to you behave differently too, as was tested in Philippines. If you can try and load the car, the roof, put a roof rack and put water on it of the GANs or ganses on it, not necessarily the water of the GANs, and see if you get any performance difference. And I'm prepared to carry 100 kilo of weight on my roof and reduce my consumption by 40–50%. And this is what actually happens. You can carry a pure GANs, you reduce your, but it has to be, you have to see which GANs, what ratio gives you the best result.
Yes. I don't know if I understood this right, returning to the tube near the combustion chamber, because what I'm worried about is the control of it. If the effect is static but constant, and I need to be able to take throttle off so that it has idle.
It's got nothing to do with the throttle. It's nothing to do with the throttle. It's the field positioning which creates. I will not
also
do it. What will be interesting on your lawnmower will be see if the height of the grass is different. With or without it. See if the grass is shorter or longer as you cut.
Yeah, but in the...
I've done many of these experiments. It's very funny when you do it and then you see it.
Okay. But still the tubes very close, the tubes with GANs is very close to the combustion chamber.
Doesn't matter, the chamber doesn't count. The two tubes create a field across them. This is what I tell you. You have to look at the field, not what is the tube, where it is.
Yeah, it's not. No, the tube is just the container.
No, I'm going to stop. Can I just say something? Because we want to go to something else. Today is not for these things. You put a bag of CO2 in front of the car and a bag of CH3 in the back of the car, and you tell me what's the difference, how car feels. You have to experiment. We've done a lot of these experiments, and you see how much your fuel consumption reduces. Going back on a space teaching, on a space program, there we just been told that the World Peace Treaty is completely signed and is on the website of the Keshe Foundation. They are loading it, and you will see the full 196 nations and the territories documents is fully signed and is on the website of the Keshe Foundation. Is coming up, or you might some places see some of it, or all of it is there. So in fact, we have become one nation, one race, and it's a public information. Please load up these on the forum of the Keshe Foundation is going happening, and spread this out that the one nation has been established. This is important for us. I'm just receiving it that they are getting done. They're waiting for the Earth Council to confirm, because the confirmation of this has been, it's in the process to be done. And as the document have fully been signed, we are officially becoming, I'm getting information as I'm speaking to you from the webmasters. They say all documents are getting converted to the PDF and then uploaded. As they're converted, all have been signed, and as they're getting uploaded, you will see them one by one as they become PDF that they cannot be tampered by or with. The process, the reality is now conversion of one mode of presentation is more or less irrelevant, as they're all signed and they're all completed. And I congratulate the whole of Keshe Foundation worldwide in establishing the first one nation, one planet, one race, that we can go to the next step. That is now the problem for all of us, is the creation and establishment of the process of governing. The process of governing is more important than anything. Governing by all of us, not by some of us. Governing on a direct process of correct conduct. Governing on the basis of one nation, equal, irrespective of color, race, and creed. Congratulations to whole of the Keshe Foundation. It's time to celebrate. I don't know what is in the background, if there is anything to do, but in reality, today, Thursday, the 3rd of August 2017, is a momentous time and day for humanity, because we have managed to do what millions of years human race has been wishing for. It's a very, very interesting, the combination of the number, the combination of time and the position, and the way we have managed to achieve this. It has not been difficult, but in achieving it, now we have to learn how to handle it. It cannot be just be done and it's gone. Now it has to go across the worldwide, and with it, we have to understand what the responsibilities we carry as the citizens, what we have to do, and what needs to be done. We have to be proud of what we achieved, not ashamed of, and we have to be able to go out every day to push this through. We have to understand just 1 second, please. I've received a message from the Keshe Foundation webmasters, the website going up. It says world leaders response to the World Peace Treaty. In bracket underneath of it should be Keshe Foundation world leaders, not the world leaders as they see. Universal Council and Earth Council. This is needed to be done. Otherwise they think that the world leaders have done, they can't say we haven't signed anything. Underneath of the world leaders response to the World Peace Treaty, you should open a bracket. Universal Council and the Earth Council. Close it. Nations of peace lovers, 198. Nation of warmongers, 0. This way connect the Universal Council and the Earth Council to their website, or to where he explains what they are, that people can understand. This is important for us, and in so many ways, this is the website which you come into. We have become one nation. The most important thing is, they call it Nation of Peace Lovers, 198, Nation of Warmongers, 0, and underneath how would you say, we have become one nation. As at peace, we have no borders. People have to understand why they're coming in to put in. But the webmasters, please correct it. If you can, please. World leaders, you put in the risk underneath of it, your Earth Council and Universal Council, that where they can go and see the explanation. Nation of Peace Lovers, 198, Nation of Warmongers, 0. Underneath of it, as of 3rd of August 2017, we have become one nation, one planet, as there is no borders and we are at peace. This is important that people understand this thing. They will not understand what it means to them. It says humanity signs itself for peace. They can see it, and then they can check page by page. You can ask to support to convert humanity to one nation. This needs to be done very clearly, that people understand. I congratulate you. We have received confirmation of 198 nations have signed, and the territories. One nation signed itself to peace, and that's what the title it is. That have become, as becoming one nation, we need to understand a lot of things changes. We will issue in the coming short time one nation passport. Those of you who would like to be part of the One Nation, One Planet can request to carry the passport of One Nation, which means we just give you an ID, your place of residence, the location you live, and that's all you need to carry. We have to understand the simplicity of the process is not having a passport, it's having identity, where I'm from, which continent. And on your passport or on your ID card will explain the continent. This is important for all of us. In so many ways, we can even add the spoken language to it too, that we have. It's a credit to be a human. It's not a shame to be human anymore. Because we have matured to become peaceful, we have matured to understand we can solve all our problems in a different way. In so many ways, it's time, as I said before, to celebrate and understand the reason for celebration. That we have managed to do something which humanity for thousands of years were dreaming of. The point will be those who carry the One Nation passport need to confirm they do not carry arms, they will never carry arms. This does not exclude police forces. We know policing can be done without arms. We have seen this for a long time in British police force. Many of the British police officers do not carry arms. It is possible to do in a number of nations around the world. Is done. Any other comment? Any comments from the people who have been so active? What is your feeling about this that now you have achieved? And every week we come back here, we carry on asking what has been done. One part of these teachings from now on will be on how we achieved and what we've done to spread the knowledge of peace.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. This is Klaus too from Austria. You can hear me?
Yes, Mr. Klaus too.
Okay. Hello, Rick. Hello, together.
I don't know why we gave him Klaus too name. Oh, himself. He called himself. Okay, I'm sitting with Klaus number 1. He's next to me.
Okay. Greetings to you, Klaus. Hello. Caroline invited me last week to present the new scan. This is a computer expert system from the Russian space program. And you know, I worked 25 years ago with this people. And we found a solution to show the GANs and the changing of different biofunctional levels. And with this scan, it's very easy for all of us to show how the GANs works and at what level it works. I can this in a short presentation with 4 or 5 pictures. I can present this.
I'm not going to let you do that, and I'll tell you the reason why.
Okay.
You make, please. I tell you the reason. Let me explain the reason why. First of all, I know what you do. I understand fully what you've done. The reason for it is make a proper presentation of it, not with a 1 or 2. We take this part of what you show because we are looking for these kind of things for certification and the new organizations which are testing our equipment. What do they do?
Mr. Keshe, can you speak a little bit louder, please?
Yes, no problem.
Okay,
is it better?
Yes, very good.
It's the moving of my microphone. It goes up and it comes down, so I have to bring it down. So what I ask you to do, please, don't rush to do it. I know what you do. I've been waiting for this. Caroline told me when she spoke with you. This is one of the fundamental processes we need And if you can put a measurement to it, and I'll give you half an hour next week to do it. But we need it to be presented as a paper that we can submit it to the authorities. Like FDA wants to know how do they measure, how it's measured. We are doing other, what do you call it, clinical tests around the world. The organizations wants to see what it is, how can they measure. One of the major organizations in the world for testing, which we can partner with our work now, they are asking for this thing you're going to show. If you can make it even like a PDF file that they can follow, it helps us a lot. And I prefer you, instead of showing a few pages or pictures, can you make a proper PowerPoint presentation of it for us that we can use it? While we are learning, it becomes part of the blueprint of the work for us internationally. If that is okay with you.
Is okay. I prepare a small PPT, PowerPoint presentation. When Klaus comes back, we can discuss this and we can fix it for you.
You can do it next week. You can do it next week.
Yes, okay. What we see, this kind of quantum resonance magnetic analysis is not state of the art of the scientific society. We know this.
It doesn't matter, but it shows that it gives a line of what they have to follow.
This is very easy to show. And
okay,
very easy
I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a question because this is something which we have to consider, and a scientist like you should be easy to explain. What we need to know is, are we looking at the magnetical field or are we looking at the gravitational field resonance, as you call it? Because up to now, in electricity, let me explain what the reason I'm explaining. Because I was talking to a man who's working to help us for calibration and certification. All our measurements nowadays is a current for a voltage. Yeah, we only measure current through one line, is a magnetical. In this technology, we have to be able to measure both sides of the coin, magnetical and gravitational.
Yes, we see this, but the test is from the biomagnetic field and from the quantums.
Yes.
And so,
can you explain that to us in that, when you call it biomagnetic?
Every cell have its own spectrum. When you look at the stars or a planet,
I'll
you
leave
can
that to you for next week. I'm just giving you a guideline we need help with.
Okay, good. Thank you.
In that presentation, it's very important. I've been waiting for you to come sometimes on to explain to us. Thank you very much, by the way, last time for your hospitality. We enjoyed being with you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much indeed. All my best regard to you and your wife.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. The process has to be understood. This is part of what we're trying to standardize and for us to understand better. That now with our systems, we have to be mutual, both magnetical and gravitational. Where in the current, we only measure the current, but we don't measure the eddy current simultaneously. And this is part of the problem of the present science. Any other point? Anything to do with the peace program and peace treaty?
Mr. Keshe, it's Doug here from Australia.
Yes, Doug. Good morning, good afternoon to you, whatever time is for you.
It's good evening here. Yep.
Good evening.
I was keeping score last night for the 9 hours it took to complete the signing of the documents. And if I can, just to show you that I was busy keeping score, I've got a piece of paper here with every single name of every country represented by the languages, and I ticked them. I wrote the names when the document came up, and as they were signed, I ticked them off. And I just wanted to show you. It's quite impressive. Can I do that?
Yes. Last night I was wishing if the world leaders would have been so efficient to sign so many papers so fast.
Yes.
My hand was aching from signing and co-signing, even though I didn't do anything.
Now, if I can just, if I'm allowed to just open my camera, I'll
if you can share a
Yeah, I'll stop this share.
Right.
Can you start your video there, Doug?
Yep. Just hang on.
Can you hold it steady, please? Because it's moving too fast. Hold it in one place that we can focus on it.
I'll start at the top.
Yeah, but it's too fast moving. Have we ticked all the nations now? Have we done according to your book?
Iran, I wasn't sure about.
Iran is done now. Dr. Harris has signed on behalf of Iran.
I will tick it off.
No problem. I have to inform you again before I forget when you said about Iran. We are in Iran between 13th, 14th of September for 2 weeks. We're trying to organize a conference in Tehran if they allow us for the presentation of the science. And those of Iranians who said they're going back or might go back to Iran, or you have relatives in Iran who want to attend this, will give you a more clear indication in the next couple of weeks. We'll be in Isfahan for 2 or 3 days and back in Tehran for the rest of the time. So if we announce, and we will announce our travel to Iran in that time. It's perfect. So we've done a good job according to you.
Yes, I kept score. Perfect.
Thank you very much. So
perfect score.
Perfect score. Thank you very much indeed. All documents, we had to run the last one very literally to the last minute. We couldn't get hold of Alex in Africa, but we managed to get him. We managed to get in on time to sign all the documents. Everything is done, and in a way, it's thanks to humanity. Now is for us to put this through across the world. It's not, the job just started. We have signed the papers. We have agreed to become one nation. Now we have to go and sell the knowledge. Because this is the knowledge of peace worth a lot. You can send a copy.
The microphone is thanks.
Can you please send a copy to all the ambassadors that you send the paper to sign? Send a letter to them. Thank you very much. The peace treaty has been signed. Your nation has been committed to peace.
Excuse me, Mr. Keshe, could we get an adjustment of the microphone again, please?
Yes, I go back again. What I said, yeah, I keep on moving microphone because of other things here. I said, can you please now, all of you who send all the letters to the ambassadors and to the presidents, send a letter now to them. Thank you very much for signing your nation to peace. The world leaders have accepted the peace. They will create a lot of shock in a lot of places with the governments. We didn't sign. Who signed on our behalf? Then they find out, they have to find out who. This is the beauty of it. Because on top of the case, for instance, the world leaders have signed for peace. So now you have to inform your ambassadors that our nation has signed for peace. And then you put your terms and conditions that our nation should not produce no arms, and our nation will not take part in conflicts. And then you will see how your embassies will sign. This time the presidents and the prime ministers will respond, because they don't want to say this is fake what we have, because they have become obsolete in their manner and their operation. And so those of you who did a lot of effort to sign and send it, now you have to send them a thank letter that has been signed. Thank you very much for you not attending, because we needed you not to attend that. We could take control ourselves of our destiny as one race to become peaceful. It's a very strange situation. Two governments running at the same time, one warring and one in peace. I think we'll win this time. Yes, Rick. Anything else? Any other comments?
Mr. Keshe, could I say something, please? It's Lisa.
Yes, would you like? We don't. Yes, Lisa, member of the Earth Council from Australia.
Yes, I'd just really like to thank Mary behind the scenes. She's been an absolute rock, and I don't think she's slept for the last 3 days, more than 2 hours. And she told me she's actually been dunking her head in a bucket of CO2 water to keep herself from going in. And she's done an absolutely miraculous job, and I think from now on her nickname will be Mary the Rock Vu because she's been absolutely steady and steadfast.
Thank you very much. I sent her a message of thanks this morning. Both of you, you've done a lot. And with you, with Wayne and Mary Wu, this would have been impossible. Thank you very much for your hard work. It's to the credit of your hard works with what you've done in the background. But we have achieved, we passed what I call the threshold of peace. And as I said, now we have to produce a letter for the Keshe Foundation supporters to send to the ambassadors and presidents, thanking them for signing their nation to be signed in the world peace. And it'll be very strange in how they will respond. If we can send a copy to me, I send a copy that will be received by the Prime Minister of Australia directly, personally. I need that. If somebody can do a letter for me for Prime Minister of Australia, this time we make sure he receives in hand, finding out that he signed a peace without actually being part of it. In this way, then on these pages we'll announce, as I said, the step-by-step of coming forward. Our work has to be done and completed. It's not going to be done overnight or tomorrow. Especially one will be nice to be sent to the President of Ghana, as they have already signed a peace in what they call it, in the presence of the United Nations officers in December of last year. So now they received that he signed for world peace on his behalf. As Keshe Foundation didn't have enough problem in Ghana, now we add some more to it by signing on his behalf for the world peace. And I'm sure they will enjoy it more. They understand this part of it and they respect it and appreciate it. Any other comment? How do you feel as a Keshe Foundation worldwide that you managed to achieve this, to make one nation out of humanity?
Woohoo! I think Liberty, Libby, as we know her, would like to say something about that. She actually has some pictures that she draws of yesterday's classes notes. She says they're colorful and dynamic, and perhaps we can show those as an experience of that. Would that be okay, Mr. Keshe?
Why not? Why not? We're celebrating, see how we got there.
Okay, let's see if we
would any members of the Earth Council, Universal Council would like to say, now that you achieved the new, what I call heads of a nation with no voting right, but the support of the wish, is the worst way to run a planet. You do everything for them and you have no right to say anything, and you can't take your word where you want to go with it, but you can wish it and they carry out your wish. It'll be nice to hear from the member of the two councils. As a member of the European Council, member of the core team, I cannot say much because I continuously speak. It has to come from them. This is beautiful.
This is actually the PM. Sorry, I'll get the AM on first. But it was so exciting. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you, everybody. This is such an exciting day, and yesterday was a wonderful build-up for it. I'll get the other one on.
Please don't forget to send a letter to the ambassadors. This is very, very important. If the Universal Council or Earth Council can draw up a very simple letter thanking the world leaders for signing the nations into peace, that people can send just a link to it. Just send the link of the Keshe Foundation to them to see. That's all they need to do.
That's not working, is it?
No, we're seeing your screen, your whole desktop there, actually.
Okay.
So it's better enough.
Okay.
You need to open it up first in a window and then share the window.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought I had it down.
It's a tricky little detail. Okay, I think you're working on it on the background there.
Did that not come through now?
No, not yet, no.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
try resharing.
Okay.
Okay, now something's happening. There we go. Lovely.
So that one, I got to squeeze in Ben right at the end. He came in and I got it back on that first page because I started to understand that we were doing it by continents and then the languages and who was presenting it. And it unfolded so sweetly. So I just wanted to share my joy. And thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, if you could keep that up for a couple minutes here,
Sure.
maybe that would be good.
Sure. I'll mute.
It's actually quite interesting the way it flows. Go ahead.
Could we have any say from the member of the Earth Council or the Universal Council in respect to what you have achieved and what do you think will be next plan?
Hello, this is Mary. I just want to say a few words in regarding the event yesterday. I just want to say thank you so much for all of the knowledge seekers' intention, the team on the back, your vibration, your good spirit, your good attitude, and wonderful support behind on the background. And I just want to express my best wish to all the humanity, for America, all the continents, and the whole earth. And that's all I want to say. Peace on earth. And we choose to create peace, and we choose to create our destiny. So thank you all. I didn't have a chance to sit and enjoy the whole 9 hours, so I had to take some time by this week or next week to review. Yes, to enjoy the feeling.
Thank you very much for your hard work. This would not have been possible without all the effort you put in.
Well, I couldn't have done it with all the support of the KF team. They are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. Any other comment from the Earth Council? Any member of the Earth Council would like to tell us anything? I've got two of them sitting next to me. Any of you two Carolines would like to say anything?
Hello. Can you hear me, Rick? Hello.
Loud and clear. Yes, loud and clear, Caroline.
Loud and clear, as usual. Thank you very much, Rick. Good afternoon or good morning to everybody. I know it's very quiet because people have not come to the position, most probably, to really fully realize what a beautiful day we started today. And in the next, hopefully, few minutes, people will start viewing and they will start going and checking their own countries if they are in the list. If we have not missed them, if we have not overlooked a single one, please, you have an open platform to our website. You can inform us, you can let us know in the chats. Please notify if we do have missed, if we have overlooked, because we want to make sure everyone is walking in the path of peace, and we will make sure you are included under our umbrella as one nation, one world, one race, but peaceful. I know you're all been following as much as you could the peace treaty, the blueprint peace treaty. If you want to go and explain and inform people, please give them the links of the blueprint. Ask them to go and listen to certain parts which might be important for them to come to understand why the blueprint is existing, how it's been built, how it's been constructed, and the whole purpose for it. I think it would maybe to create the first open path. All of you who are teachers, if you could take parts which you think you can vibrate or intensify the interest of teachers, give them a CD for them to listen to it, and maybe the advice to bring it to the school among the children, to inform them that they have become one, we have become one family, and maybe that they have to reconstruct their teachings about separation, division. Whatever our children have been taught can be adjusted, can be corrected, but we as adults, with what we have achieved and on the platform we're going to start working on, we're going to have to take up our responsibilities to carry it out. Each one of us will have to, with what vibrates with your heart, which you are close to, please go and inform people. Do you know we have become one world in peace because it has been signed? And I can show you the proof of it. Maybe carry a copy of the link on paper or send it out in emails or even post it out in your community hall, in your courtrooms. Hand it out to people. And you know something, something just horrible just passed my face and I just went in a shock. There has been there is a huge boat arriving somewhere. I will not even mention names or countries where they are arriving. They're all Black Africans which have crossed to find a better life. And they put the title on it, Invaders. The invaders have arrived. I am ashamed to even see people using this kind of language. You in the West have so much. You have more than enough to share. It doesn't cost you anything to give one of your extra shirts, your extra shoes, your extra jumpers, your extra food. We, you, whoever never stood still, we went into their country and did the same to them. Now they're coming back to your front door and now they're invaders. What were we when we did it at that time, that moment? That's why this creation of passports, from at least just identifying that you know where your roots are, that when you want to orientate from where are you, but no more color difference, taste difference, culture difference, that you can be picked out like you are an invader. No, we are one planet with only and others living on this planet. You become a human, you become a family of peace when you acknowledge everyone is the same. Please embrace those people when they come in. Support them, help them. Then you become a real knowledge seeker. Then you really carry that World Peace Treaty in your heart, because then you will be the first one to give. Through giving, you elevate your soul, and by elevating your soul, you are elevating every single human being on this planet, their soul. We are all equal from yesterday's signing, completed this morning. We're going to have to really carry this message out. We're going to have to plaster it wherever we can and be very proud of it. We're going to have to start making it to show what we sign is truly and was truly our intent as well. Because if it just becomes a paper on the wall, it won't happen. The Keshe Foundation is working very hard to build up the structures to support for you to even equally balance more and more souls in their physical form to have a better life. The bank system, the technology, the knowledge. Let's say we have 1,000 knowledge seekers today present. I've seen 60,000 on Facebook. This morning a notice came in, 72,000. If you haven't read and you haven't noticed, you cannot like it. You don't put your thumb up that you liked it. So let's say we have 70,000. Who liked it, has understood, has agreed, has acknowledged. Because when you put your thumb up, it means I am present. So with your presence and your acknowledgement, you have become a teacher of the Keshe Foundation. You have become a teacher and an example how to carry this piece forward. Pave it forward for your children. Pay it forward for your children. Carry it forward for your children, future generations. But the beauty is when you carry it and you make your first step, taking this print from your computer and you hand it to the first person to share that there is peace, you have elevated your soul at that point. So please, people, don't come only and share in the knowledge seeker workshops. We said, Rick, didn't we, a few days ago, there will be nobody without a job. Do you know how many people have to be informed about this whole process that they can join and they can have peace in their heart? Are you reaching your first hand out to elevate yourself and then them? I already reached 72,000 just on one page. Please materialize it by behavior and by extending, by knowledge, by teaching and supporting. Don't be shy, don't be scared. And if you want to be and you are shy, then work from behind your computer. There are sufficient enough links you can go and make them aware that this is happening. Because when we send out so simultaneously these letters and the links where they can be found, and people are going to start checking, double checking. That's the first connection they're making. They will start realizing it is done. Now the structure only has to start unveiling in what platform, which platform, how. But we're going to have our hands full because we have 10 billion people to inform, minus whoever is present today. And I thank you for showing the path for humanity and supporting it to make sure they receive equality, peace. And I don't think if even a homeless person can share his sandwich with another homeless person, or his blanket, or his piece of carton, I think we can share much more than that. Thank you everybody for present, and I thank all the teams and all the councils, the Earth Council for really a great job. Thank you. The Universal Council for their job in their level. Thank you. The core team, thank you very much for supporting us as souls in totality. We have done and we have completed it. I am a happy person today and full of joy, and I can kiss you all. Thank you. Somebody else is coming.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to thank you all for making this happen. Yesterday, there was a Zoom meeting, and there was another Zoom meeting in the background. In this other Zoom meeting, which was called the support group, which was initiated by MOSFEC. There were in Mary, Wayne, Armen, Stanley, and many others who helped to prepare the signing of all the members. This meeting was going as long as the official meeting, and everybody who needed help and support was in this support meeting. So we helped all together to get the official meeting prepared, and all the different teams, the core team, the Earth Council, the Universal Council, was functioning very well together. Therefore, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you all for signing. Thank you all for working together. It was really great. Even if technical matters wanted to not function as well, somehow a solution was found. Somehow the microphone was open again. Somehow the documents could open again. Somehow even Windows XP was able to open these documents, etc., etc.
It was pretty slow, though.
Yeah, that's true. But it worked in the end, and from all different parts of the world, the signatures came in. It was really great, and only one or two had to come back to the support group to be briefed or debriefed again how to do it and which step has to be done. And finally, it worked out very well for all of us. And even in the last minute, we managed to get Benjamin in so that it was possible that all the universal councils could sign in one go. And we've even managed that Mr. Keshe has signed as an Earth Council, and I think also Lisa managed to sign as well. And the rest was signed the following hours afterwards, so that when the last midnight on Earth was completed, I think the last midnight on Earth was Los Angeles, that the whole World Peace Treaty from all the countries and all the continents have been signed. This was a great job, and this was world peace in action. I thank you all for that. Thank you very much.
As thank you very much. Any other member of the councils would like to say anything? We would like a member which is very quiet. Would you like to say anything from animal world? Yes, he says yes, he likes it. I go back to one point and we most probably bring the day to close. You have seen in the past few months, in the past few years, after peace conferences, after ambassador meeting for peace, change of energy unit for peace and everything else. It was my wish that human race one day will sign this treaty. That become the cornerstone for the future human race in their activities. And being inspired with peace and bringing the peace, I set out to achieve what has not been achieved for thousands of years. And the reason I tell you this is very simple. You have all put effort to it, because my wish to touch your soul became your wish, because it was part of your wish. Strengthen it to move, and this is what we have to do. We don't have to sell a wish, we don't have to do anything but wish. And if our wish is sincere, it becomes the action for the whole humanity. And it goes back to one point. My wish is my command. I wished peace for humanity for decades, and after some 50 years, we see it for the first time on the paper. And it's been your wish and your command, and we have achieved it. I remember when I was around about 8-10 years old, there was a place called Vietnam, and there was a lot of activities going around Vietnam in that time, a lot of killing. And the news was nothing but how many Americans killed, how many and how many them killed Americans. And I asked my father a single question many times. Why are these people killing each other? What is wrong in this Vietnam? And in a short time, with reading news at that time at a young age, I could not see what's the reason of all this conflict. I came to one conclusion, that these guys have got halfway across the world to do something which has got nothing to do with them, and trying to interfere with another person's life and place, and this should not be. And I considered the Americans as invaders, in a way trying to enforce something which has got nothing to do. And I could not understand this aggression till I came face to face with Americans who came from Vietnam, being as part of the tenants of the properties which was owned by the family. And I realized invading, killing is part of their nature and does not fit mine. I came across the soldiers who came directly from Vietnam and stayed in Iran for 2 or 3 years afterwards till they could find somewhere to put them. And I learned one thing. Somehow the blood of the man mixed in that continent has come to think killing is the only way. And this is one thing I could not agree with. And this is one of the reasons I refused from years to take the Keshe Foundation technology to the United States. Because I knew it would be used, as from my childhood I've seen the aggression and killing as part of the structure of children as young as me, who were coming with their family from Vietnam. And this is one thing I could never agree to transfer technology to the Americans, because I knew then becomes another and then another. And now you understand why I see a problem with the mixture the blood has mixed in this continent that sees nothing but into murder. Strange enough, we don't see it south of the border with the Mexicans and north of the border with Canadians. My belief, as I always have been correct in understanding what I do has to be the correct way, is by moving the technology in the hand of the safe leaders is the only option that we can change the condition and bring peace forward. It's somehow the mixture of the mixture which has led to very bad mixture, and we have to stop this process. And the only way to stop is to sign such a peace agreement that we bring an alternative and a new way to peace, to agreement for peace, to concept of peace. We have to understand the time has come to forget the past. In a way to forgive the past, but not to forget the past, that we can go ahead. We can change time. We can change a lot of things from now on. You will see continuously we report on the developments which we take towards peace. We highlight it, we bring it forward. One of the best way which I have shown, and it could be, was a yesterday paper written to the head of Atomic Commission of Ghana. They chose a way of conflict. We thank them for accommodating us that we could take the technology further. The same will be on the same pattern, the same behavior from now on, from the Keshe Foundation. When we support, when we give, when we encourage, we go public with it, and it's your job to put it in the front pages of the press. Send this message that the World Peace Treaty has been signed by the Keshe Foundation, by the people around the world who support the ethos of the foundation, has been signed. And send the front page where it says world leaders have signed for peace to the newspapers. Especially to Ghanaian, especially to the people of the press of the Ghana. And especially to the American Presidential Office, especially to every leader and ambassador. Let them have a look and decide. Thank you very much for today. Thank you very much for yesterday. Thank you very much for years of support that has brought us to this position. As I said, from now on, we deliver technologies which has not been, and now with the World Peace Treaty makes it possible for us to release to Keshe Foundation supporters and the nations which support the ethos of our work. As I open to you today, you have just seen just a touch of what is to come. Thank you very much. Thanks for all the Keshe Foundation supporters in the background. And if there is anybody else who wants to speak, otherwise we finish for today and we celebrate today. And we celebrate this day, 2nd and the 3rd of August, every year from now on, as a time when the World Peace Treaty was signed. And we ask it from different nationals to make it a national holiday that people remember. And in time, as we come into power after running the world affairs, by not voting, but by serving, we'll make it as one. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity to serve, Mr. Keshe.
It's all of us done all together what we've done.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Keshe. Is there anybody else who would like to make a last comment before we wrap up here?
I would just say thank you very much to Mr. Keshe for everything he has done for this planet. A very, very long effort with lots of trouble and you stood the distance, Mr. Keshe. I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of all that has contributed to get a better planet. Thank you.
When I first started listening the teachings years ago, and I felt like he's related to me, and I was thinking that he looked like my uncle, and and then even it was the pardon.
I said I hope it's not the mustache.
That's so true. Even the first days, I was so stunned by your understanding and telling, and you told in general. Not everyone has a mustache is your uncle, and that wasn't even an issue, or even, but you sensed it. You have understood it. That had put me in that road with every other bits as well. But that's just what I wanted to say. Thank you so much, sir. I don't know what to give you more from myself to you and to the others, to the rest of them. It's so overwhelming and so pins and needles and goosebumps every moment of it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed.
And what can I say, but it's been an amazing experience up to this moment in time. And as we move forward, Mr. Keshe, this is Rick Crammond here for those who may not know my voice at this point. I don't know who that would be, but thank you so much, because you've given us the direction to get to here. And now we're starting to find our own direction, and with some guidance, we can move forward into an amazing future, the way I see it, with so many opportunities are going to open up in the next short while that we'll be overwhelmed with goodness happening on this planet. And if anything else than goodness shows up, it'll be overwhelmed by the goodness that's going to take place, and as people bond together to help each other to elevate ourselves on this planet, to move into a new peaceful way of doing things. And I see so many indications around me on a daily basis that that I'm very encouraged. So thank you, Mr. Keshe, for leading us into this wonderful path.
It's a collective effort, and hopefully now we have to increase the effort, that by next week when we meet, want to know which ambassadors have received, which presidents have received. And let's see what we have to have an agenda, what we are offering in replacement of what they have. Somehow in the background, the Keshe Foundation, especially the Universal Council and the Earth Council, have to come up with an agenda when the nation tries to become peaceful, how we're going to support them, how we're going to support a nation. We have to set up an agenda very rapidly in the next coming days. As I said, our work has just started. There's no use talking about the peace when we cannot deliver. We have to study the conditions of each nation. We have to create teams who understand the culture of the nation and support that nation through. When they come through, what can you do for us to become peaceful? We have to have a program. We have to have an agenda. We have to start structuring that all the nations have one basic principle that we meet. We have to make a compromise. We are prepared to invest in your country in exchange for peace. I have reached agreement with one of the leading nations in the world in the past few days that we will, and at this moment time is talk, we hopefully can confirm it, that we extend the technology manufacturing to each nation in exchange for peace. We will make any investment in any nation or Keshe Foundation. and we put a limit of between $10 to $20 million investment, and the prerequisite for investment is the nation to sign themselves for peace. And we increase the investment accordingly to what we see. I was not to disclose till we have everything in writing, but more or less in the next few weeks, we have linked up and we have made arrangements that will link our massive investments to peace and agreement of peace. We ask the nations what they need that makes them peaceful, and what we have to do to replace the condition that becomes peaceful. And we've chosen in a very easy way the nations who are prepared to compromise their territories, armies, to become armies of peace. We finance, we invest, and we encourage to join. This is part of the thing which I explained to you before we are heading for. I needed a mandate of this World Peace Treaty to become one nation that I could build on it. And now I have the mandate, and now Keshe Foundation can work on it. As a member of the Earth Council, I work closely with other 5 members to make sure that the guidance is given to us by the councils before any decision is made. We have massive amount of finances available to us, and we will use it in the appropriate way. As we said, technology for peace, we deliver the technology, we deliver the jobs, we deliver the security, and in exchange we ask the nations to sign themselves for peace. We have 20, 30 nations which are heading this way for us. It's very easy for us to start getting them to move. As I said, my wish was that no world leader will sign before yesterday, and I got my wish. Because now everything is in terms of the Universal Council. Everything will be on the terms of the Earth Council. Everything will be on the term of peace. And this is important, and we have achieved it. My team, immediate close to me, they are aware of these moves, they are aware of the investments, they are aware of the motion which we have achieved. And in due course, now that we have reached this mandate, we have achieved it as one nation, as the head of nation, which is the Universal Council and Earth Council, we start investing around the world, both financially, teaching-wise, and economically, that we bring peace on the condition exactly what we did, if you remember, in Rome. I saw that picture in one of the promotion videos this morning, where all the ambassadors were sitting with the boxes of power Maghreb unit in front of them. We changed those to factories, we changed those to jobs, we changed those to health systems and security. We give nations security in exchange for people, for peace. And this is what is on the agenda. I report as we achieve it. We invested huge amount of our money in Ghana, and we'll get Ghana to be one of those nations which will sign itself to peace, because they already have agreed with the United Nations, and it's easy to get them to move to the next one. As I said, our next step is Togo, next door to Ghana, and we have already spoken with the heads of military that we see it as a way, investments for disarmament, and opening, hopefully, the borders between Ghana and Togo will be the first step in Africa for disarmament. I hope we can achieve that point. Thank you very much.
Mr. Keshe, I'd like to read you something in the chat from Alex, who he's from Canada, and he says, I have 76 world peace treaties on the peace wall in my store. This represents 0.05% of the population of my region. They say that 3% is a revolution. So many are oblivious to this event. But when new people see the wall, the look of shock on their faces is shocking. The hopeful uplifting as a result is most gratifying. I am present. That's kind of an indicator of the grassroots support that you have, as well as the top-down support that's going on. So it's coming from both directions, I think.
We've been told the ex-American president has signed it in his name, but he has not acted it, but we have not seen it as act. We've been told a number of world leaders have signed a peace treaty and will sign a peace treaty in time to come. But we have to establish an independent nation, which means the governors can govern. There is a lot of problem with these kind of processes, you understand. Should have been clear. A lot of structure is set to create war. A lot of structure is set to create fear, to create war. And with it then it creates condition to create arms. You got to understand very simple process. They come, they create fear, and then with the fear comes a very beautiful thing. It's called a red box. These people who come to create war, they walk into the office of the ministers, prime ministers and president with suitcases full of promises of cash in their private accounts. All the military contracts carries huge amount of payment for the world leaders. This is where it has to stop. What is important, absolutely important, is that as we push for peace, all the bank accounts of the war-making system companies has to be opened up. If the banks become transparent, the bribery in the arms will stop a lot of things. A lot of the arm manufacturing companies pay huge amount of bribes to people, to the presidents, to the prime ministers, to the man on the door. Unless the governments pay the bribe, these contracts cannot be signed. One of the first things which we'll push for, as the governments opened and pushed for the Swiss banks to open their accounts to see who has money where, it has to be the opening of the full transparency of the arm making companies to see who they have paid the bribe to. They would not like it, but this is one of the first solutions. Gradually we'll understand. There's only a few number of nations who are in this way and they do it. And these are the people who push for arms. They pay huge amount of bribe to the world leaders, to the ministers, to the assistant ministers, to the families, sister, husband, wife, in different names and whatever, to cover. The investigation into the bank accounts of the arm manufacturing companies has to become one of the leading paramount points for all the works of the Keshe Foundation. This has to be. We ask and we'll search and we have access to people who can open the company accounts for us. And then we expose them in a way that there should be no bribes paid. If you are selling an arm, let us see what it is and who's been paid. I created massive enemies in that way, but in a way we always succeed. The problem for peace for us is who is to benefit by what and who receives the benefit for what. Those world leaders who accept the exchange of the Keshe Foundation investments to their nation against bribery of the armed forces or arms selling, you'll find out very soon will change. I met when I was very young an organization known as the Lonro Group. Lonro Group, Tanya Rowland and the rest took a very nice policy, very years and years ago, when they were young people in Africa. And that was, they did not pay a bribe. They said to the African chief or a head that, oh, your son is coming to England, we pay for his education, we pay for him to go to private school and the rest of it. They didn't pay a bribe cash, but they put the children into private education and private schools and boarding schools. And when these boys became ministers and gained position back in the country, they ruled the country through them. Not much of those kind of people work at the moment. I met Mr. Tiny Roland, and it's very strange how I got to know, and when I explained to them what I understood, they brought me into their organization and work to Russia and the rest to see more of it, and in North Africa and in West Africa. So that kind of bribery now long is gone. There is some very few left. But others at the moment is all the bank cash accounts and transfers of money into these accounts. Transparency for military providing selling companies has to become a rule. If the terrorist organization bank in different bank accounts in Switzerland, so we have to be able to have full transparency of the arm producing companies. Then we'll see the extent of who actually sells arms and the reason. 90% of the purchase of arm is the bribery received, and there is no need for it in the nation. This is one of the main targets of those who push for peace. You have to understand where the initial wars start. The initial war will start when these people walk with suitcases and promise thousands against contracts. This is one of the things. This is one of the things that has to be done, because it becomes part of terrorism. Government of Belgium bank accounts have to be checked directly. How much money is paid in the Belgian banks? How much money paid in German banks? How much money is paid in American banks from our manufacturing companies as bribe? And then this will stop arms selling altogether. As I said, sitting with many world leaders and ministers over years, I have come to understand we don't need it, but the commission on it is good, we sign it. I know, and I've been across to understand a lot of it. Any nation who sells arms, their bank accounts has to be frozen by international bank accounts till the company assets are opened up. And we see how and where it's gone to, because the balance book shows huge amount of payments out to world leaders. This is the sweetener which sells arms, and it takes not much to do. Let's say from Monday morning, we push the governments, we ask the governments, we go to the press that our manufacturing companies have to open their books. Search the internet, look at the profit margin of the companies, and these are the public information. Start looking for the money proliferation to the others. Then you find out by exposing, we stop half of the arm making, who has received what. These are the avenues which peace can become. We don't fight, we just, as we said, we expose. I know for a fact 80% of the Belgian government arms sales includes 20% bribery. All the companies who are in the arm, or they call defense, pay a huge amount of what are called sweeteners. And these things have to be exposed. This will create us peace, because this way we understand when we expose most of the work. American companies work on the same basis. As one nation, it's our responsibility to show what the citizens and the companies of the nation are doing. It's our job, the people in the background who have time, to start opening assessments and report it to the nation as one nation. Because we are one nation, now what happens in one part affects the other. So what is paid in United States and what is received in another country which received the arm, figures should balance. These are the way, the civil way to show how one nation works. There are many ways arm deliveries can and have to stop. In other way, as we praise and raise the soul of the citizens of the planet and the world leaders, the same way we have to show where the wrong is that can be corrected. If you were in the press conference of Accra last week, And the videos of it there, we'll put it on the internet, you will see. I took a coin, which is half a CD out of my pocket, and I showed to the press. I said, we haven't even paid half a CD bribe to Atomic or any minister. And this is where the problem is with us. Because we don't pay bribes. We bring technology, we invest. And that time, the press understood exactly where the problem sits. Arms selling carries huge amount of bribery. And now the banks, if we were after terrorists, we have to find out who arms the terrorists, who sells them in one commission. All the arm manufacturing, defense technologies, we were forced to open their bank accounts. Public figures does not add, it has to be understood. Very simple. We don't fight, we just expose. At the same time, we elevate the soul of their workers. This is the way to do it. This is the way. It's not one way. There are different ways to encourage the governments from walking away from arms. We offer all the air forces without fail. We offer all the air forces without fail a chance to bring the Air Force officers, the pilots, into the rank of the spaceship program to become part of the space program. This is one of the exchanges we are doing with 2 or 3 nations we are talking to. Which means they become part of the spaceship program, they become peaceful when they understand and the work of it. It's very simple. I will explain, and I have explained to them, your systems are sold to you is obsolete. What you want to buy a broken system which you don't need it. Exposure of the space technology in the next few months will change a lot of things in defense and in army in any way. Because once you can deliver thousands of people from one point of this planet to another, then there is no borders. What's the use of arms? It's taken a long time to plan this out, and now we have found a solid partner to carry it out with. Thank you very much. If there is no other comment, we have celebrated our peace agreement today. It's a fantastic to what has been achieved. And as we are humble people, we walk away to implement it. Write to all the ambassadors and thank them for signing the World Peace Treaty. That's the first thing we need to do, to raise their position to understand. And then they will understand gradually who and where and what they have to do. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. We'll let you go now.
Thank you very much.
Okay, once again, wonderful workshop. Many thanks, and thanks to everybody for attending. This is the 183rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, August 3rd, 2017. And it's a wonderful day for humanity.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll end the live stream. And we'll meet again. When do we meet again, Mr. Keshe?
Every Thursday. We are back to Thursday meetings. Every Thursday meeting. Thank you indeed. Thank you very much.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We're on holiday, everybody. Wow.
It's not a holiday, it's recovery time and then celebration.
Thank you. Okay. I will take that.
But thank you, everybody, for all your hard work.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, everyone.
So we only need 4 hours and then we're good to go, right? We need some celebratory music, Flint. We're partying. We're celebrating.
Flint, are you ready?
Yeah.
Thank you. We're going out with music, don't we, Libby?
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be the broadcast, Rick, or sorry, Flint. It's just for us here.
And a big smile.
Hit it, Mr.
Cans
Music.
with a big cup of cans of water.
Coming up.
DJ Flint, go.
Don't miss your mirrors.
Okay, just a minute here.
I'm so grateful for that, Caroline. The mirror has become my best friend now. Thank you so much, my wonderful sister. Thank you.
How much have you already changed, darling?
Oh, I'm sure you can feel it. Thank you so much. Everything is improving.
Thank you.
Absolutely every aspect of my life is improving. Thank you.
And you're going to have to share some pictures in the next teaching.
I will do that. Absolutely do that.
Thank you. Because Mr. Keshe is asking if there has been any change.
The change has been profound.